There are people who walk among us every day with smiles, charm, and charisma, but underneath it all, something darker lurks. You don't have to be a psychic or a mind reader to understand that some people, while seemingly innocent, may carry with them a destructive energy. We all know the saying, actions speak louder than words, and when it comes to evil, it's in the actions, the choices, and the patterns they display. The key is to recognize the signs before they tear you down. Today, we're going to break down 5 signs that you might be dealing with someone who isn't just difficult to deal with, they might be an evil person. A pattern of manipulation is one of the clearest signs that you're dealing with an evil person. These individuals don't just behave manipulatively on occasion, they do it repeatedly and with great skill. They know how to twist the truth, how to distort reality, and how to play with your emotions to get what they want. The goal is not just to get a favor or win a one-time argument, it's about establishing control over you and your decisions. They might start by offering what seems like help or support, only to later use it against you as leverage. You may find yourself feeling obligated, feeling as though you owe them something for a simple act of kindness that now comes with strings attached. At first, it can be difficult to spot because they're so subtle in their approach. They won't outright demand things from you. Instead, they'll use guilt or fear to coerce you into doing what they want. They might make you feel like you're ungrateful or selfish if you don't comply. These emotional tactics can be so well executed that you might question your own motives, wondering if you're the one in the wrong. They'll make you doubt your judgment, undermining your confidence and increasing your dependency on them. Their manipulation is calculated, designed to wear you down over time and keep you in a state of confusion and uncertainty. This manipulation also goes beyond just getting favors. They will often engage in gaslighting, a form of psychological abuse where they make you question your own perception of reality. They might lie about events that occurred, deny promises they made, or tell you that things happened differently than they did. In doing so, they create doubt, and that doubt clouds your ability to see the truth. The more you second-guess yourself, the easier it is for them to influence your decisions and actions. This pattern isn't just an isolated incident, it's a cycle that can keep you trapped in a toxic dynamic, one that can slowly erode your mental and emotional well-being. They know exactly how to push your buttons and how to make you feel like you're the one at fault, even when they're the ones pulling the strings. A lack of empathy and compassion is a defining characteristic of an evil person. These individuals seem to be completely disconnected from the emotions and needs of others. They do not experience or express any genuine concern for the suffering or struggles of those around them. Instead of offering help or comfort, they may view the pain or difficulties of others as an opportunity to gain power, control, or even enjoyment. When someone close to them is going through a hard time, an evil person may be indifferent, dismissive, or even take pleasure in their suffering. They may mock, belittle, or criticize those who are vulnerable, as if their distress is a weakness to be exploited, rather than a situation that deserves care and attention. This lack of empathy can manifest in both big and small ways. They may ignore your feelings altogether, dismissing your emotional state as unimportant or irrelevant. When you are upset or in need of support, they may downplay your experience, saying things like you're overreacting, or it's not that big of a deal. In more extreme cases, they might manipulate your emotions to get what they want, using guilt or shame as tools to make you feel responsible for their well-being, even when you have nothing to do with their problems. The absence of compassion means that their actions are often self-serving, as they lack the ability to genuinely understand or care about the impact their behavior has on others. An evil person may also disregard the emotional boundaries of others. They won't hesitate to violate your privacy, exploit your vulnerabilities, or take advantage of your good nature. Because they don't understand or care about the emotional consequences of their actions, they might push you beyond your limits, expecting you to tolerate abuse, manipulation, or mistreatment without any remorse or consideration. If you're hurt by their actions, they may show no apology or even become defensive, as if your emotional reaction is the problem, not their behavior. Their inability to empathize makes them cold and calculating, never considering how their words or actions affect you, and showing no desire to make amends or seek reconciliation. A sense of entitlement and superiority is another key trait of an evil person. These individuals often believe that they are inherently better than others, deserving of special treatment, or entitled to privileges that others should not have. They hold themselves in high regard, believing that their needs, desires, and wishes should always take precedence over anyone else's. This inflated sense of self often leads them to disregard the rights, feelings, or contributions of others because they view themselves as being above the common standards of decency or fairness. Their entitlement extends into every area of their lives, from personal relationships to their professional conduct. They often act as if the rules do not apply to them, whether it's in social situations at work or in public. They may disregard boundaries, overstep limits, or demand more than what is reasonable, expecting others to accommodate their every whim. If things don't go their way, they may resort to manipulation, coercion, or anger to ensure they get what they want, convinced that they deserve it by virtue of their supposed superiority. These individuals might view others as tools to be used for their own benefit rather than equals deserving of respect and consideration. In relationships, they may expect constant admiration, loyalty, and service without reciprocating the same level of care or effort. Their sense of superiority often leads them to belittle others, viewing anyone who disagrees with them or challenges them as inferior. They may make demeaning remarks, subtle insults, or openly criticize those they consider beneath them. This attitude of superiority is often rooted in deep insecurity, as they constantly feel the need to validate their worth by putting others down. They may inflate their accomplishments, exaggerate their importance, or pretend to know more than they do, all in an effort to maintain their perceived status. If confronted, they will rarely show remorse or humility. Instead, they may double down on their belief in their own greatness, refusing to acknowledge any fault or imperfection in themselves. Destructive behavior patterns are one of the most telling signs you're dealing with an evil person. These individuals often engage in actions that harm themselves and others, seemingly without concern for the consequences. Their behaviors are driven by a desire to control, manipulate, or hurt those around them, often leaving a trail of emotional, mental, or even physical destruction in their wake. These patterns can manifest in numerous ways, from intentional sabotage of relationships to repeated cycles of abuse and exploitation. At the heart of their destructive behavior is a deep disregard for the well-being of others. They may instigate conflict, stir up drama, or create chaos, all in an effort to maintain power or control. They thrive on creating confusion, tension, and uncertainty, using divisiveness to destabilize those around them. Whether it's through gossip, lies, or deceit, they aim to fracture bonds and turn people against each other. Their actions can often leave others questioning their own worth, values, or perceptions as they manipulate the truth to fit their narrative. Evil individuals are also adept at creating a toxic environment where those involved feel trapped or helpless. They might employ tactics like gaslighting, where they make others doubt their reality, or emotional blackmail, where they threaten to withdraw love or support unless their demands are met. These tactics are designed to break down the resilience of others, making them dependent on the evil person for validation, approval, or peace. The destructive patterns are not always physical. They can also be psychological, leading to long-term emotional damage. Moreover, these individuals often refuse to take responsibility for their actions. When their behavior is called out, they may shift the blame, manipulate the narrative, or deny any wrongdoing. Instead of acknowledging the harm they have caused, they deflect, minimize, or justify their actions, further perpetuating a cycle of destruction. They rarely show remorse, as their goal is not to build or heal relationships, but to tear them down for personal gain. This pattern of behavior is not one of an occasional mistake, but rather a consistent approach to life that seeks to inflict harm and undermine the happiness, success, or peace of those they come into contact with. The inability to take responsibility is a core trait of an evil person. These individuals rarely, if ever, acknowledge their role in any negative outcomes or conflicts. When something goes wrong, they immediately look for someone else to blame, deflecting any accountability away from themselves. This pattern is a direct reflection of their lack of self-awareness and maturity, as they refuse to confront their flaws or mistakes. Instead of owning up to their actions, they shift the narrative, often manipulating situations to make others appear at fault. In relationships, this behavior becomes especially toxic. An evil person will rarely admit when they've hurt someone or made a mistake. When confronted, they will resort to excuses, justifications, or outright denial. If their behavior leads to harm, They may quickly point to external circumstances, blaming other people or events for their actions. This avoidance of responsibility creates an environment where trust cannot thrive, as those around them are left to question whether the person can ever be trusted to admit fault or change their behavior. Moreover, the inability to take responsibility often goes hand in hand with a sense of entitlement. These individuals believe they should never face consequences for their actions, that they deserve special treatment or immunity. They might even see any acknowledgement of fault as a sign of weakness or failure, further deepening their refusal to take responsibility. This creates a dangerous cycle where they continue to harm others without remorse and without ever learning from their mistakes. In their professional or personal life, this trait often leads to a lack of accountability for their work or commitments. They may fail to meet deadlines, make promises they don't keep, or leave others to pick up the slack when things go wrong. Instead of seeking solutions or offering help, they create problems and then walk away, expecting others to clean up after them. This behavior not only destroys relationships, but it also erodes any sense of collaboration or mutual respect, as those around them are constantly forced to shoulder the consequences of their actions. In conclusion, dealing with an evil person is a complex and challenging experience. Recognizing the signs such as manipulation, lack of empathy, a sense of entitlement, destructive behavior, and the inability to take responsibility can help protect yourself from their harmful influence. These individuals thrive on creating chaos and instability, and their actions are often driven by a deep need to control or exploit others. It's essential to maintain your boundaries, stay grounded in your values, and take steps to distance yourself from toxic relationships. Understanding these traits not only allows you to navigate interactions more effectively, but also empowers you to safeguard your own well-being and peace of mind.